If you want to make a stop while reciting the Quran, you have to change the short vowel at the end of the word you're stopping at into sukoon. So we say, أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. So when we stopped at the word فَعَلَ, we said فَعَل. But if we kept on reading, we said فَعَلَ. But what happens when you want to stop at a word ending with a shaddah? How can you make sure that you show that the letter ends with a shaddah without having to take anything from the word or change its structure? And what should it sound like if you stop at a letter with shaddah without its vowel, since you will be changing the vowel at the end of the word into sukoon? Well, if you want to stop at a word ending with a shaddah, it will be one of three possibilities. 1. The letter with shaddah is a qalqala letter. 2. It is either noon or mim with a shaddah. And 3. It is any other letter. So first, if any of the qalqala letters which form the word qutb jadd, if any of these letters came at the end of the word and it had shaddah and you want to stop at it, what should you do? Well, what you should do is applying the highest degrees of qalqala to this letter. And applying the qalqala properly in this position will be enough to make sure that the shaddah is visible and audible at the end of the word. Let us consider these examples. إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ بِالْحَقِّ إِنَّا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ بِالْحَقِّ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا وَأَتِمُّوا الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. So as you can hear, we said بِالْحَقِّ and we didn't say بِالْحَقِّ, and we said الْحَجِّ, not الْحَجِّ. So applying qalqala properly at the end of these words will take care of the fact that these words end with a shaddah. And if you want to learn more about qalqala and how to execute it properly, then you can check out this lesson. Next, if the word you're stopping at ends with mim or noon that has shaddah on top of it, then you will have to apply a ghunnah of 2 harakat or 2 counts, and it will sound like this. فَيَوْمَئِذٍ لَا يُسْأَلُ عَنْ ذَنبِهِ إِنسٌ وَلَا جَانٌّ فَأَخَذْنَاهُ وَجُنُودَهُ فَنَبَذْنَاهُمْ فِي الْيَمِّ فَانظُرْ كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الظَّالِمِينَ. So notice that at the end of these 2 words, we applied a ghunnah of 2 harakat. This means that it is not correct if you didn't apply ghunnah. إِنسٌ وَلَا جَانٌّ. This is not correct, and it should be إِنسٌ وَلَا جَانٌّ. And in the next example, it is wrong to read it like that. فَنَبَذْنَاهُمْ فِي الْيَمِّ. But it should be فَنَبَذْنَاهُمْ فِي الْيَمِّ. Now, notice the difference between when there is a shaddah and when there isn't a shaddah on the noon, in this case of these almost identical words, which can cause some problems if you don't know how to deal with this situation. In one instance, it doesn't have shaddah, and in the other, there is a shaddah. Now let's listen to the difference when you stop at either of these words. إن الله لا يظلم الناس شيئا ولكن الناس أنفسهم يظلمون وما ظلمناهم ولكن ظلموا أنفسهم. So when there is a shaddah, you clearly apply the ghunnah of 2 harakat so that when someone hears it, they would know that this word ends with a shaddah. And on the other side, if there is no shaddah, then you will not apply any ghunnah, and it will also make clear that the word doesn't end with a shaddah. Alright, and now the last possibility, which is if you are stopping at a word ending with a shaddah, but with a letter that doesn't belong to the qutb jad letters, nor is it a noon or a mim. So what should you do then? Well, first of all, words that fall under this category are not as many as in the previous 2 categories. And where these words usually come in an ayah makes it even less likely that you'll be stopping at them. But in case you do want to stop at them, you have to make sure that you show that the letter has shaddah by pronouncing the duplication of the letter clearly. Otherwise, you would be removing a letter from the word. And that can change the structure of the word, which is something you should never do when reciting the Quran. So to understand this even better, let's study this example. يا أيها النبي قل لمن في أيديكم من الأسرى. So the word nabi is the word that we would like to stop at. So let's analyze this word letter for letter to understand how to do this properly. The most important thing that you will notice right away is that the word ends with a shaddah, and therefore the last letter is duplicated. Now, to stop properly, you need to only drop the dhamma and turn it into sukoon. The common mistake that usually happens here is removing the dhamma and the second ya along with it, which would sound like this. Ya ayyuhan nabi, which is wrong because this means that there is just one ya at the end of the word, while it should sound like this. Ya ayyuhan nabi. So how do we get to this stage? Notice that the original word is an-nabiyyu. What we want to remove is the dhamma only and turn it into sukoon. So we should stop before we get to the point when we pronounce the dhamma. That's why we say an-nabiy, not an-nabiyyu, and not an-nabi. So the correct pronunciation is an-nabiy. And in this way, we don't have the dhamma at the end of the word, and we also show that the word ends with a duplicated letter or a letter with a shaddah. Let's have a look at another example. وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُم مَّا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَمِن رِّبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ ترهبون به عدو الله وعدوكم. So here we said عدو. We did not say عدو. And we did not say عدو, because that would mean that there's just one waw at the end of the word, while there is two. So, stopping at this word would mean you would say it like that. ترهبون به عدو. So, in short, when stopping at a word, you will turn whatever vowel you're stopping at into sukun. But you will need to pay extra attention if this word has shaddah at the end of it. If this shaddah fell on one of the qutb jad letters, you will need to deliver the highest degree of qalqala. And if it is noon or mim, which has shaddah on top at the end of the word, then you have to make sure to give it exactly 2 harakat or 2 counts to show that this letter is duplicated. And finally, if it is any other letter, you have to stop exactly before you are about to pronounce the vowel sound when you are pronouncing the duplicated letter or the letter with shaddah, just to make sure that you're not taking away anything from the structure of the word, which is something that you should not do when reciting the Quran. And if you want to learn more about the basic rules of stopping in the middle of an ayah when you're reciting the Quran, then you can check out this lesson, for which I will leave its link in the description as well. Thanks for watching. If you want to start your journey to learn the Tajweed of the Quran, you can click on this link. And if you want to understand the Quran in Arabic, then you should click on that link. And finally, I hope you've learned something new today, and I will see you next time.